And the most offensive part of the whole thing is the fact that it is going to cost some money. If you remember last year, we had this on the floor, the Lieberman-Warner bill, and it would amounted to $6.7 trillion over the life of the bill. That's in new taxes, new taxes. So, we don't want to make people believe that somehow there's magically some amount of money is going to come in. It is nothing but an increase. Cap and trade is an increase in taxes on energy. That's the point, and we'd be happy to respond to any questions.
Thank you very much, Jim. And I hope you will have some questions.
Senator,
yeah.
As with healthcare, Democrats hope to have a bipartisan bill on climate change. Senator Baucus is expected to look at how to repeal some of the oil and gas production taxes that are in the Obama budget. If repeal of those oil and gas provisions make it into the climate change bill, will that kill any chance for a bipartisan bill?
Well, I think we have to take a look at the climate change bill. We had an energy crisis a year ago. When the economy recovers, as it will, if we don't kill it with excessive spending and borrowing and taxing, which is one worry, we are going to be short of energy. We need to have energy now, and we need to have all forms of energy. I'm for all forms of clean energy. We particularly need to get moving on nuclear power. It's the cleanest energy we've got. We are working hard to get batteries in Missouri that will drive plug-in or hybrid cars. That's very important. Home insulation and commercial building insulation can save significant amounts of energy. Let's move forward on that and the technology for using the abundant clean coal resources we have, cleaning up oil and gas. But if we shut down the existing sources of fossil fuels, petroleum particularly, we're going to see gas prices head way above $4 a gallon as they were last year, and tremendous burdens on the economy. I think we have to take a good science-based look at how we can continue to clean up our environment, develop the technologies that will be usable by other countries as well, and continue to make gains, bringing other countries like India and China along with us, without whose participation it makes no sense.
Let me respond to that in a slightly different way. First of all, we learned in the 4 times we've had this on the floor. We've had cap and trade. It started out with the Kyoto Treaty, then it went to McCain-Lieberman, then Warner-McCain, then Sanders-Boxer. And each time when we have an analysis as to how much tax, what kind of tax increase it's going to cause on the American people, it started out at $300 billion. It's now up real close to $400 billion because they get more aggressive in their emissions targets. Now, the White House knows that they can't pass a bill as it is now, anything close to what they're talking about. They only have 39 votes right now. If you take the 34 votes they had during the Warner-Lieberman, that was a year ago right now, after the next election, they picked up at the most 5 more votes. So what they're trying to do is use the threat, the intimidation, that we're going to do this with regulation under the Clean Air Act to force us to do something. And what you're bringing up is exactly what they're going to have to try to do, have benefits in there to somehow buy those additional votes to get from 35 to 60 votes. I don't think they can do it because every time they try to help us increase our supply of energy in America, they're going to lose some of the Democrats who don't want us to increase our supply of energy in America.
Bill.
Senator, are you aware of any of these unduly costly green jobs in your state? And also, your governor has spoken very positively about green jobs. Is he more or less on the wrong path here, too?
I just want governors, legislators, local governments to look at these figures. I believe the governor in Missouri is strongly behind battery companies, for example. I know we have some companies in Missouri that are working on facilities for wind and solar production. And I'm not saying that we don't need any of that. There are parts of the country where, with some subsidies, that can work. But we need to be advised that this power comes at a significant cost. When you look at, and you will see in the book, the per kilowatt hour cost when you figure in the subsidies, some of these new power sources are hugely expensive and require significant taxpayer subsidies per kilowatt hour. Yes, ma'am.
As a candidate for president, Obama said that electricity costs would necessarily skyrocket.
Skyrocket, right.
I don't understand why that is still in question.
It is in fact, yes. And that's one of the reasons I campaigned hard against him, and we carried Missouri for Sarah Palin and her running mate.
My question is, do you think...
Oklahoma, too.
Ba-doom chick. No, and John McCain. I said that facetiously.
So my question is, do you think that this is just the Democrats trying to prematurely force an outcome that they want before a transition fuel is available?
Of course, they're trying to force this. They are using the EPA as the gun at our heads, saying, "Hey, stop me, or I'm going to shoot our economy in the head." And it's up to them to decide if they want to pull that trigger and force a huge loss of jobs, decimate the economy before we have transition fuels and the new technology, the new nuclear power, all the things we need to continue on the path of cleaning up our air. Yes, ma'am.
You said you support green jobs, but obviously you don't support a subsidy. Do you believe that they can grow organically? I mean, is that...
I'd like to see if the green jobs that require the least subsidy and the most efficient are the ones that we ought to pursue. That's nuclear power, nuclear power, nuclear power, nuclear power. That's battery-powered automobiles. It's home weatherization. It's other energy efficiency things. We are working in Missouri on a new technology to use wood without converting it to cellulosic ethanol in a new, very efficient, low emissions producing small generators. The city of Kirkwood, Missouri, has ordered one that produces 5.4 megawatts of energy. And there are many of these things working, and we're proud they're working on them in Missouri.
I think a good way to answer that question is just to quote the Center for American Progress. Now, that was John Podesta's group, a very liberal group, and they said, no, it's going to cost $100 billion over 2 years. So obviously there isn't a cheaper way to do it, or they would be talking about it.
Yes, sir.
Senators, are the Republicans going to come out with some sort of plan to address climate more broadly and green jobs in particular? And can you comment on the direction the climate and energy debate is taking in the House and how that's going to move over to the Senate?
First, I think everybody needs to have the facts. And I don't believe people have clearly understood or heeded the yellow flashing lights on green jobs. Before we jump into this, let's see what the most efficient, effective way to go about continuing to clean up our atmosphere is. And I've supported lots of things, clean coal technologies, for example, batteries and other things. Jim, this is in your area.
I would say that it gets down to what is going to produce a lower amount of CO2 in the air, if that's what they want to do. First of all, I would say, and I have people going to my website from all over the country because we do quite a bit of the national talk shows, that shows very clearly that the amount of CO2 going into the air would increase if we passed something unilaterally in the United States of America, number one. Number two, that we have now over 700 scientists who were on the other side of this issue are now skeptics.